And you can see there are segments that don't do as well because as much as people say you only talk about this, turns out y'all don't care much about Penn State. And you know what? Maybe Penn State doesn't care much about Penn State because James Franklin is the John Cooper that Ohio State fans try to make Ryan Day out to be. And I need y'all to stop that, okay? Stop making Ryan Day out to be John Cooper. That's not him. That's James Franklin, who's 1-13 against top 5 opponents, okay? Who was yelling at a fan on the way out going, "What's your name?" Talking all this noise. Dog, you make so much money. Keep walking. Figure out how to beat Ohio State. Leave that boy alone with his iPhone. My God. Penn State is the luxury Ohio State rental property that, you like to hang out at every now and again. It's specifically in the James Franklin era, but I like to think of Penn State as an Ohio State property like an Airbnb in the Hamptons. It's routinely overrated, overpriced, and will leave you feeling fleeced by pretty pictures and empty promises. And no, sucker, you can't get your money back. You asked for this. This is what you got. So if you see Ohio State rolling up on somebody who is a top 5 opponent, short them, shade them, fade them. Send that dude to the rookie barber chair in the back with the clippers that bite and cut his braids off. Because you ain't no OG no more. You can't have these no more. We got to give you something high and tight. We got to put wannabe on you and send you back out the door and let you earn this back because I don't believe you. I simply do not believe you. I mentioned where I think Carson Beck rates in all of this, and I'm going to walk this out just a little bit more. There are folks that are going to tell me, "Yo, RJ, you're being hard on Carson Beck. He's 20-2. Wins is not a quarterback stat. It's not. Wins is not a quarterback stat. And you know why? Because he got the win when again, the Texas game, and all he did was throw for 175, three INTs and no TDs. That's not a... Drew Aller is 17-4 as a starter at Penn State. Who's his signature win? Who did they beat with him at quarterback? Nobody. Will Howard. He got the win against Penn State. Played well at times. Also threw a pick 6. It's not a quarterback stat. If that defense doesn't show up to be a monster, and that's what Ohio State's defense finally showed up to be a monster, we're not talking about Will Howard at all. We're talking about what Will Howard didn't do. Hell, Troy Smith, who, by the way, has done this show, the last Heisman winner in the Big Ten, let alone Ohio State, was out here talking about, "I want to see Julian Sayin in the second half." What the hell am I still watching Will Howard play football for? It's tough. It's tough in these streets. Winning is not a quarterback stat. I think it's a defensive stat. Because if you're taking account to what I'm talking about, the Georgia defense came up big with a big interception against Florida to seal that victory and open up the lead. Ohio State didn't allow an offensive touchdown at all, even when Penn State was on the 1-foot line. All they needed to do was punch it in behind Drew Aller's enormous behind, and they couldn't do that. You throwing pass plays, Andy Kotelnicki. You throwing pass plays on 4th and 1. Not at the 1-yard line? Nah, not doing that. That's what Katron Allen's for. That's what Nick Singleton's for. Hell, that's what Tyler Warren is for. No, I'm not throwing the football, okay? And then I mentioned you got defense everywhere you go with these programs that are getting these sloppy wins, right? Georgia defense shows up against Texas. Ohio State defense shows up against Penn State, and on it goes. The only thing that I can't figure just right now is where the hell Indiana is going to fit in all of this because we still got some weeks to go. And I'll remind people that Tennessee was once the number 1 team in the country in the college football playoff selection committee rankings, and they were undefeated at one time, and that went away. You know what I'm saying? Indiana's still got to get past Ohio State, So, like, for all the folks that are going, Indiana's going underrated. Well, first of all, we've been talking about Indiana on this show for the better part of a month, and they're going to get their shot, just like Penn State got theirs. Difference is, if you put Indiana in Penn State's clothes, you expect that team to be number 6 team in the country, which is where I put them, right? They put Penn State at number 6 in the AP, and I'm going, nah, that's number 9. That ain't no number 6. That's number 9. Look at what they have done and look at what they're doing at 2. Penn State, common opponent, Michigan State with Ohio State and Oregon. Oregon beats Michigan State at home 31-10. Ohio State beats Michigan State 38-7, a little bit better. And then Indiana stomps a mud hole in Michigan State and walks you dry 47-10. I think Indiana reminds me a lot of 2015 to 2018 Clemson, where we're not quite sure, and we won't quite be sure until they play somebody we know is good, like Ohio State. So it's coming. It's coming. But I need both of them to go unscathed. And you know what? Ohio State better name the number against Purdue on Saturday, because that's the big noon game. But I'm going, Purdue is sorry, y'all. Purdue sucks. Like, I wanted them to be better, but they just not no good. I also want to do a little bit of college football playoff selection committee rankings. Again, you're here and you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel, right? It helps other people discover it. And you know what? I'm much more likely to be kind to somebody who's got a little subscriber tab down at the bottom in the comments if you got something to say. If you come in here just to say, whatever and tell me off, that's one thing, but that's not a community. A community shares exchanges, whatnot.